Welcome back, stamping friends. This is card number 6, our last card for the month of September, the 2014 Christmas card Stamp-A-Stack. So we've talked about our case that you got, and we've talked about all the things that came inside. You will be using more of this piece of paper, but here I am on card number 6, and so I wanted you to see how much you really are going to have left over. So I was very generous in giving you the amount of cardstock I did for your stamping. So even if you have a few boo-boos. So we're going to be using, once again, the Get Your Santa On. And I wanted to remind you of a few things. Make sure you put your stamps back on the sheets and put them away. 2 reasons. You don't want them just sitting out like in sunlight. That can affect your photopolymer stamps over a period of time. If you did it one afternoon, don't stress out. It's not gonna kill your stamps. The other thing is, these are clear. Do you know what your craft table looks like after you've been stamping? You'll lose them, so make sure you put them back away. All right, so I wanted to, first of all, apologize. I used this stamp on my sample when I advertised this class, but I didn't want to make you buy 2 stamp sets and markers in 1 month. So I wanted to point this stamp set out. It's called Christmas Bliss, and this is the stamp that I used on the card. So for this card that we're going to be doing today, I will be using a different stamp, and it's going to look a little bit different. But again, this is called Christmas Bliss, and you will see this again. This has got way too many cute sayings, and that we can use them for our Christmas card series. So here is what the card does. Can you see that? It stands up. There are 3 sections to this card. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, before we actually get started, I told you I did 113 of these swaps. So these are some of the extra pieces. And I wanted to share with you, for my Founder Circle swap, I wanted to emboss the pieces. I thought that made it look richer instead of just using the black StazOn. Well, let me tell you what happened. After doing 113 of them, and they would touch each other or whatever on the table, there is so much embossed area, and it's so small. When I got the marker on that embossed area, it didn't dry. So I had a bit of a mess, and a lot of them had to be redone. So keep that in mind if you decide that you want to emboss because it looks prettier, and it does. Reality though, stick to the StazOn. Okay, so this is the size piece that you're going to be using to stamp your little chimney. I will give you the measurements of that in your PDF, but you will be cutting it from this piece. So you've got quite a bit left over. You've got quite a bit that you can use to cut that piece. So for the sake of the video, I'm not going to take the time to trim that out of the scrap, but just know where you're going to get it from. All right, so we're going to ink up our stamp. And again, what am I using? I'm using the paper piercing mat. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it for a second, and then I'm going to peel that off and set that aside. You will be using the corner rounder once again, just on the 2 top corners. Okay, we're not going to do the whole thing, just going to do the 2 top. All right, so it looks like that. Okay, all right. So this is the part that I think you're just going to really love me for. I pre-scored, this is your little kit, I pre-scored and cut this design for you, and I will give you the measurements in the PDF, but this way you didn't get stressed out at home without me there with you to help you. So let me just show you what happens. You're going to dip this down, so you're going to fold that in, you're going to fold this back. So we have what we call mountains and valleys, okay? And then we're just going to squeeze it up like that. So that's what your piece is going to look like. Whoops, sorry, one more. We're just going to do, I was missing a valley there. So you have 3 peaks, 3 mountains, and 2 valleys. So can you say thank you, Sharon, for doing that for me? Because It was a little intimidating the first time I did it. And like I said, since I'm not there with you in your home, I didn't want you to stress out about that. But this is really going to be a fun card to put together. So the other items that are in there are these pieces. Okay. And then you have the piece for the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that since I have this in my hand. Tie my little bow. And again, I feel like I was very generous giving you the ribbon for this, so you will have some extra. So just kind of play with it and get it to where you want it. Okay. All right. And then we're just going to cut off this excess piece. Whoops. Try that again. Okay. So there's our bow for the card. I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these strips on. Your measurement for this one will be in the PDF, but I will tell you for the sake of the video, it is 1 inch wide. That is important when I go to cut out that next layer that's going to go on top of it. So we're going to go ahead and put some snail on. Now, I did find it easier when I was doing 113 of these to just go ahead and lay this out flat. Okay, that way you're not trying to tuck it in and all of that. So we're just going to lay this first piece right here. And then we're going to take the bigger piece with the packages, add some snail, and then that's going to go up here on this piece. And I tried to get it to where it didn't touch right here. If yours needs to be trimmed off a little bit, then just go ahead and do that after you attach. So I tried to make it a little bit smaller, but because what happens is when it folds and everything, you don't want it to be too long. You don't want it to be too tall or too long. All right, so now what we have, and I'm going to get you the, pull this out. Oh, notice that one has it on one side, one has it on the other. So if yours is backwards when you get the kit from what I'm doing, all you have to do is fold it over and do it that way. Okay, but when I was doing 113 of these, I really didn't care. Okay, so we've got one piece, one piece, one piece. So we're skipping green in between. So I just wanted to point that out to you because I think that helps. Now this is the same side, so you want to do the opposite. All right, so then we're just going to stick that, whoops, right there. And again, I need to trim it off just a little bit. I would rather have it too long when I sent it to you than too short, okay? Can't fix it if it's too short. All right, so we're gonna put this back together and there it is. Okay, there's your piece. Oop, have a little bit of adhesive. Okay, all right, so now we're going to color in the same technique that we did on the last video. Go ahead and dab, dab, dab. So I'm not going to color his boots on this one. I'm going to leave it just like it is. And I'm going to go ahead and add some dimensionals to the back of this. I will caution you though that when you go to put this card in an envelope, you really do need to crease it really good with a bone folder because it is tight, tight, tight. And the reason it's tight is because of this bulk, okay? So take your bone folder and really crease that good. All right, so let's attach this now. Remove our backing. I saved the best card, I feel like, for last because I think it turned out really cute. And I think it was a pleasant surprise for you that I did the scoring and everything ahead of time. So, like I said, I didn't want you to stress out. Okay, so now we have this part done, and now we need to finish off with our sentiment. You're going to take your piece of scrap paper, and I've still got some pieces over here, so I'm just going to use this. I'm going to use this right here. All right, so I took the stamp from the Get Your Santa On. And I am using For All Good Things That Christmas Brings. Okay. And I think what I'm going to go ahead and do, just so you can see the difference. Now, when you're making yours at home, I'm going to go ahead and do that wavy bit that we did on a previous video. And cut that off. Just for the sake of the video, you could get your paper trimmer out. You could do whatever you would like to do. And I'm just going to leave it just like that. I think that's kind of cute. It's different. All right. So I'm not going to put a dimensional on there because of that bulk that I mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to add this on this side. And then I'm going to take some snail and put over here. And then I'm going to attach the bow. All right. So there's my modified version of the card that I sent you. Let me back out just a bit. I don't know why I say that. You know I'm going to be backing out if the camera changes. So a little bit of a variety, both really cute cards. I think that you're going to really like this one, and I bet you make more of this fold, especially with the PDF instructions. All right, thank you so much for participating in the online Christmas card class with me. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for you to see what I'm doing in October. Take care. I'll see you next month.